anyone who grew up watching loads of kung fu movies back in the days such as The Amazing Drunken Master and even Snake and the Eagle Shadow, both films starring one of my all-time favourites, Jackie Chan, or to me the greatest Bruce Lee movie in the legendary Enter the Dragon, I have deep roots in the world of martial arts / kung fu. So when I first saw this Shaolin vs Wutang game pop up on the Xbox store, I didn't really blink twice before buying it. The game was reasonably priced and it looked pretty unique in its offering, so I kind of thought I couldn't go wrong with buying this game. Well, sometimes in those circumstances, without doing any background checks on a game, you tend to run into problems, and in this video I'm going to share with you 5 issues that I've experienced with this game, so make sure you keep it locked.
5 things we hate in cyberhood. Number 1.
Now, whilst there are plenty of great and memorable characters to choose from, a barrage of levels to fight on and quite a few decent modes to sink your time in, I personally feel that this game could have definitely held a few things back for players to unlock whilst playing the arcade mode to help with the replay value of the game. In my experience, after completing the arcade mode a couple of times, there isn't much more reason for me to be burning to want to return to playing this game. I think given the huge roster of fighters at your disposal, if they lock, let's say, half of them, as a gamer, I personally would have been more intrigued to see who I can unlock in this game, and that probably would have definitely kept me playing much longer. Some gamers won't see this as an issue as they can simply dive into the game with everything unlocked, but for me, especially from a single person perspective, I would have definitely loved a reason to keep fighting through the arcade mode to see what I can unlock.
Number 2.
This probably ties into my argument for longevity for this game, as I feel having the ability to fight online would have definitely kept the game going a little bit longer for me as well. I understand given the price, maybe setting up a server and etc. is probably a massive ask, and I guess you probably do have the option to fight locally against friends, but the thing for me that I've always said nowadays, most people probably don't really play against their friends sitting next to them on the couch. I just believe an online mode would have definitely given this game a wider appeal and would probably see more people jumping on this game, as they would be able to compete across the world showcasing their kung fu skills.
Number 3.
Keeping it real, I wasn't really expecting a masterpiece from the Shaolin vs Wutang in the visual department, and to be fair to the game, it doesn't look as bad as some other games that are out there. On first impressions, I actually thought it looked pretty decent, but as you begin to play the game, you will start to see a rapid drop in frame rate, plus majority of the level design isn't the best that I've seen. I do also love a couple of the styles of the level, like the Tokyo level and the New York level, but all the other levels kind of look like something you would have probably seen on an older gen fighting game. The animations at time does seem sloppy and sluggish, and it's just a game that, as I mentioned, might have been probably released for the Xbox 360 console when it first came out, and I'm sure maybe some gamers might even argue this probably looks like a PlayStation 2 game.
Number 4.
Without sugarcoating anything, this game seriously has loading issues. The first time I played this game, I probably had to wait close to 2 minutes before the game actually loaded up, and then pretty much before every single fight you have to wait close to 60 seconds before you can actually get into a brawl. With the graphics not being the best in the world, I'm personally not sure why this game takes so long to load. It could just be my Xbox One X, who knows, but this has definitely been a frustrating experience when it comes to the load times.
Number 5.
Don't get it twisted, there are a couple of cool special moves and decent move lists for each fighter in this game, but in all honesty, none of them really are required in this game outside of walking towards your opponent and smashing the punch button. I've completed this game a couple of times on a higher difficulty by pretty much spamming the punch button and literally getting to the end of the game. I think an introduction to a much more counter-action gameplay would have definitely changed things up a little bit and maybe allow you to utilize most of the variety of moves that are actually available in this game. All in all, whilst this isn't the best fighting game that I've played by any stretch, it certainly is a fun fighting game. I know my criticism might seem a little bit harsh, but genuinely I did have a blast playing this game. The soundtrack I think is really cool, mixed with the announcer and the sound effects. It definitely makes for a great experience. You're kind of literally thrown into a time zone of watching an old school kung fu film. As mentioned in my critique, whilst I do enjoy my time playing the game, the longevity doesn't really last as long as I felt it should have, and it does kind of lack that replayability factor. But I still will throw it on from time to time and still get about 20 minutes of pure enjoyment from this game. I guess the $1 million question is whether this game is worth buying or not. Put it this way, I think if you're into kung fu or martial art films, especially from the old school era, then you're probably going to go down a nostalgic road with this game. Also, if you are an achievement hunter, then you will easily get 70% of the achievements of this game probably in the first hour or so of playing it. Be warned, the fun isn't going to last as long as you may expect it, but for the price, it's hard to complain too much, as I do believe this game is definitely 100% worth the £14 that I personally paid for it. Anyway peeps, as always, do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you played this game before? What do you make of my critique? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And maybe if you've got your own critiques about this game, definitely feel free to drop it below. As always, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the channel before, because we definitely try and drop a lot of cool videos on this channel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hit that like and subscribe button for more dope Sabahood videos.